welcome to the Ryerson Rams Women's Basketball Team Development Program. It's the Week 5 debrief, and this is the final debrief, so if you made it this far, good for you. Congratulations. This summer was about connecting the team with the idea of courage. And courage is such an important part of your personal development, just as you the person, but also of the development of any student athlete. If we want to become better versions of ourselves today than we were yesterday, we must practice courage to move beyond who we are today and be better versions of ourselves tomorrow. Hopefully you were able to follow all that. So we started the summer off with getting clarity on what is courage, and we said that courage is when our will to act is greater than the fear that we are feeling. So we fully acknowledge that there is fear that we're feeling, and those people who we see doing great courageous things, it's not that they don't feel a fear, but their will to act is greater than the fear that they are feeling. And personal courage, for me, I'm not a fan of roller coasters. So if I go on a roller coaster, that's an act of personal courage. My son loves roller coasters. So I'm not comparing myself to my son who loves roller coasters and diminishing what is personal courage for me because he can go on roller coasters and loves it. I'm saying that for me, going on a roller coaster is a big deal. And for me to go on one, my will to act is greater than the fear that I'm feeling, and as such, it's courage. So then throughout the summer, I gave you a few tools and some best practices to help drive your will to act or help you to understand the fear that you were feeling. So one of those was competing with yourself every day. And just that idea of, look, every day I'm competing with myself. And I'm competing with myself to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. So if there was something yesterday that I didn't do because of a fear, hopefully I can reflect on that and then today decide, you know what, today I'm going to attack that because I compete with myself every day. If I was a 5 out of 10 yesterday in this domain, then how can I be a 6 out of 10 today? And always looking to take those steps forward. We also, just checking my notes here, helped you understand the idea of thirsty. And thirsty is that you feel that fear, but you understand what that fear means. That fear is that amygdala, it's that lizard brain, and while you can't beat the lizard brain, you can certainly dance with it. And if you dance with it, it means that anytime you feel that discomfort around something, instead of running away from it and fleeing, you actually recognize that, and now you say, I know this feeling, that's my lizard brain speaking, I'm going to actually do this thing that I'm fearful of now, because it's just my lizard brain trying to protect me, but it doesn't really protect me anymore. Then we gave you an opportunity to demonstrate some courage through giving constructive feedback, and throughout the program, you had to give teammates feedback, some of it constructive, but gave you some tools to give constructive feedback, and you guys put together some pretty cool videos. And we used the OIA process. I also shared with you sort of the sugar process. The OIA process is really for, maybe you're on the bench, maybe the game is over, maybe you're in the team room, maybe you're walking to practice or with a teammate, or walking home from practice with a teammate. Because of the time it takes, it's not really something we can do in the moment. But the sugar process that I shared, which is just, look, name, action, that is something that we can do in a game. So if our teammate doesn't box out, it can be, Sarah, box out. That's it, and then, on the bench or after the game or whatever, we can get into OIA. But in that moment, we're trying to be direct. And then when she does it, we give her props. Good job, but we, just like the way people communicate with their pets, very loving, very caring, we can still communicate directly with our teammates and it be very loving and very caring. Finally, we shared with you some practices around mindfulness. And really, George Mumford uses this great analogy of watching the cat. There was a study done where they had these dogs, and they had these dogs sitting there, and they let cats run in front of the dogs, and those dogs would take off and run after the cat, chase after the cat. Then they spent time modifying or training the dogs to, instead of react to the cat, training the dogs to sit there and just observe the cat. And after their training, the cat, they had the dogs sit there, and the cats would go by, and the dogs didn't move, and the dogs would just watch the cat. So mindfulness is really about helping you to watch the cat. So instead of something happens, there's a stimuli, mindfulness helps you to get space between that stimuli and your reaction and watch the cat. So observe the situation, observe your thoughts, and more importantly, reconnect you with your intentions. How do I want to behave in this situation? How do I want to respond versus just reacting? And that mindfulness piece it helps you to connect back with your team and leadership intentions. So if I want to help my team be the best version of itself that it can be, and by doing that, in doing that, I try to help my teammates be the best versions of themselves they can be. Instead of going into a passive leadership situation where I see something happen, I decide I'm not going to say anything about it, and that's stimuli reaction. Now I see something happen, I watch the cat, I build space between my stimuli and the reaction, and choose how do I want to respond to this situation. And if you allow your intentions to drive your response, and your intentions are around helping the team be its best, you might engage with OIA process of giving constructive feedback, or a sugar process of giving constructive feedback. But that's a summary of what we covered this summer, and hope that you're able to use it to drive higher levels of courage with yourself, to be a better version of yourself throughout this season.